Hello, friends. This is a very special episode of the Beard Owl podcast because why? What's so special about it? Well, I've got Eric Appel on the show. That's right, the man who directed and blessed the world with Weird, the Yankovic Story that was streaming exclusively on Roku. Now, you can pre-order yourself a Blu-ray, a DVD, or you can just buy yourself a digital copy. It's delightful. He was so kind, sat down with me, had a lovely conversation about Weird Al, about the movie, and just about being cool people. I think I'm gonna count myself among the cool people. Anyhow, on the flip side of these messages you're gonna hear is our conversation. I really hope you enjoy it. You have my favorite flavor of LaCroix also.
This is, in my opinion, the only flavor of LaCroix there is.
I concur. I have a generic one at the moment, but it is still the grapefruit flavor. So,
Have you had coconut? That's a bad one.
I have not.
Or I should have. That was loaded. I should have said, "What's your opinion on the coconut?"
Oh no,
flavor?
It's a bad one. I'm sure I haven't tried it because it's gonna have to be bad.
Yeah, it tastes like what you'd think suntan lotion tastes like.
That's
or
what
sunscreen.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm not a fan of the limoncello or the key lime. I like regular lime, but not key lime.
Really? See, the limoncello I was very into. In fact, and this relates to Weird, that was my drink of choice when shooting Weird.
Really?
And my assistant had the catering people buy cases of the limoncello and then hot stash them for me. So she would always that's what I would always have at my desk.
That's great.
Or at my desk at the monitor.
It just tastes perfumey to me. I like a drier citrus, but I get it. I understand. My mom likes that one a lot.
Yeah, but I bailed on it. I had too much of it, and then I burned myself out.
You flamed out on the limoncello.
I did.
Well, thank you for talking to me on here, the Beard Owl podcast. We're talking about sparkling water, not beer like we usually do here, but that's okay. That's okay. So first of all, I have watched the movie Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, a whole bunch of times.
Awesome.
I'm one of those. I'm just going to admit what I did. The day it came out here in the U.S., I made my Roku think I lived in Europe. So
Why? Wait, why?
Because it debuted at midnight.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I had my Roku thinking I was as far east as
Roku covers.
Yeah,
which is the UK, I guess.
Nah, I was in Hungary or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so I got to watch it at 7 p.m. or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, absolutely. I was I can't wait. And if I had to work the next day, and it was just I needed to see it as soon as I could. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time before Weird came out fielding a bunch of questions from people is this going to be a real biopic? What's this going to be about? What are you expecting from it? And it was a weird mantle to carry for the amount of time that we knew about it, because people were like, Lauren, your opinion means something on this. So the first real question that I have for you is, how many people got bamboozled thinking that this was real?
Oh man, I mean, I don't have an exact number, obviously, but quite a few people, a surprising amount of people. I got obsessed with watching trailer reaction videos when our trailer came out, because this is the first thing that I made that this is the first thing I've done that made a splash like this, and had there were people posting their takes on what they thought it was going to be, and a ton of these trailer reaction videos on YouTube, where people film themselves watching the trailer and reacting to it, and then discussing it for 10 minutes afterwards. And most of those, when the trailer ended, people still weren't sure. They were like, man, was he really with date Madonna? Like that was one of I think the week after the trailer debuted, if you started typing Al's name into Google, it would autofill with like if you type did Weird Al date Madonna would like autofill.
So
Because people
weird.
thought that was real. There was one, I can't remember the guy. There was like one reaction video in particular. This guy's mind was just like so blown watching the trailer. And he was like, I can't believe, like, this is real. He said it like 5 times during the reaction. He goes, this is real? Like, I mean, that's what the trick is. You know, I guess something like Dewey Cox, like it's a fake guy. It's a fake biopic about a fake guy. So like, you know that it's fake. The fact that this is about a real person, even though it is Weird Al,
Yeah.
You know, it just tricked people into thinking that it was actually a straight biopic.
And that blew my mind so much, you know, especially within the Weird Al community. I was like, y'all, did you not see the complete Al? Like that's not real either.
I know.
I'm like, there's precedence for this. You know,
yes,
like
yes.
this, we live in a world where a mockumentary about his life exists. Do you expect a real biopic? Like, no. But you did lead me to, you know, my brother and I are big fans of Walk Hard. You know, the whole Dewey Cox thing.
I've never seen Walk Hard.
And you know what? I think that's probably good for you doing this because
I think so.
One of the things that scared is not the right word, but one of the things it was like, how walk hard is this going to be? Like, how do you avoid walk harding this? No, I just made walk hard a verb.
Right.
But, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you literally answered my question because you'd never seen it. And I was like, how did you avoid those same story beats? It was like, you just didn't know what they were.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were. Like I'd only seen a couple of clips from Walk Hard on YouTube. And I don't know how I missed it. Like I don't know why I never saw Walk Hard. I love everyone in it and everyone involved. For some reason, I just I just missed that one. I think I was working at Funny or Die at the time, which was like, I mean, we were like related to Judd Apatow. Yeah. For whatever reason, I just didn't end up seeing it. I think it landed in that period of time where like parody movies weren't really working. You know, they weren't what they used to be. It was I think it was around the same time that like Scary Movie 3 came out.
Yeah.
They were trying to maybe bring back parody movies, but enough time hadn't passed. Like I grew up with the Naked Gun movies. Like that's when I was a kid or a teenager. And the Hot Shots movies. Like those were mine. You know, like around the same time that I started really getting into Weird Al was like when those when those early Naked Gun 2.5 and 33 and a third were out. Then like the Scary Movies came out. It just feels like parodies kind of died, and then like Date Movie and Disaster Movie and like all of the Epic Movie. And it seemed like the parody movies were more about just referencing as many pop culture things as you could, when like the classic Zucker Brothers stuff, I mean, it was like Mad Magazine style jokes. It was just like, how many silly, goofy things can we put in here? And everyone's playing it really straight. And the joke of all of those movies was like, people aren't reacting to the silly thing that's happening. You know, like Leslie Nielsen crashes his car in every establishing shot in The Naked Gun. And it's just never commented on, where I feel like that wave of like epic movie, and it was all about commenting on the funny things. And, you know, like Borat was like, all of a sudden Borat comes walking in the bathing suit, and it was like cheap jokes, just referencey jokes. And I think maybe that's it. Like Walk Hard came out right around the same time. And even though I knew it wasn't going to be that, it felt like it was more of a direct parody of like Walk the Line, just based on the trailers and the artwork. And it just felt like a Walk the Line parody. And for whatever reason, I think I wasn't interested in seeing that at the time.
You know, and that is totally fair. And I love the picture that you painted of kind of what parody movies were and what they became. And your your stock references to parody movies is so clear in Weird. Like when my husband and I were watching it for the first time, we were like, this the tone was so correct. Like we're like, this is the parody movie. Yeah, I mean, I'm like your like ideal audience also, but it's still
Thank you. It's funny too, like we also didn't want to go, it kind of lives somewhere in between a parody movie that doesn't take itself seriously at all, and I don't want to just say like a good movie, but or like a real movie that cares a lot about the story and the emotional beats. And I think that although we do have like visual gags and we have like really silly stuff that happens, we very deliberately tried to avoid making it feel like a Naked Gun movie or like Airplane, where there were jokes that would break the reality. Because what was very important to us was like our way of parodying in this movie was to like lean really hard into the emotional beats of the story, but like bizarro, absurd versions of the emotional beats. Like, can we actually tell a story here, and can we create a character that the audience really cares about? And can we sustain an entire movie with this and have people look, how's it going to end? And kind of falling in love with this character, wanting to see him reunite with his father and succeed at the end. And can we do that by, leaning really hard into all these like emotional story beats, and just making those kind of as silly as possible, but like that they still work. If that makes any sense.
It makes complete sense, because that's kind of Weird Al's career. Just from my perspective anyway, is that the emotional beats are there no matter how ridiculous what he's doing is.
Yeah.
Like what pops into my head immediately is the song Melanie from Even Worse. It's like you feel the emotion in that song, but it's also totally absurd and just out there. And I think that's why he as a person has been able to make the connections that he's made. And I think there's like, it's not even a dotted line. There's a straight line, between what he does and what happens in the movie.
That's really funny. Yeah. And it's like his brand of comedy, although his music videos were full of like silly Naked Gun style Mad Magazine gags. There's also like an aspect to his comedy that is about pushing emotion really far, like getting really angry. Like, he likes cartoonish violence and almost like Tex Avery, Looney Tunes-esque, just like beating people up. That's why when Toby Huss is beating Tom Lennon up, it's like that feels like it's something that you've seen pop up in Al's comedy throughout his career. Just even in the complete Al, I think there's like someone getting tossed around like a rag doll or something.
Always. It's always there. I've said so many times that there's basically two types of Weird Al songs in that vein, right? There's the songs about like really minute stuff that it takes itself very, very seriously. Like, no, don't wear those shoes. Or, one of those days where like, they're dropping the bomb. Like, oops, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's either the reaction doesn't relate to the thing that's happening.
Right. Yeah, it's really funny. Like the movie just kind of being Al, we wrote it together, so obviously it's weird to like do a tribute to yourself, but it's kind of a tribute to like Al's brand of comedy, like every sort of avenue that it took, went down. The movie touches on it at some point.
That's so incredibly cool. And when this was happening, again, people kept coming up to me because they know the Weird Al movie being UHF, right? So, having written this with him, and then he, wrote that, in almost 40 years ago, which is cool. I don't like that.
I don't either.
So do you think, like, having worked with him on this, do you think that like his experience with that kind of like informed or affected the way that he worked on this? Because like UHF didn't like hit how he wanted it to, but it was a slow crescendo.
Yeah, it hit for me. I saw
Yeah,
it in
me
the
too.
theater. Yeah, I made my grandpa take me to see it in the theater when I was like, 9 years old. He was like, I think he fell asleep. He's like,
Well,
"What is this? What am I watching?"
it's a fever dream.
Yeah. But yeah, I like early on in development, I asked Al I was asking him questions about how UHF got made, the development process and all that. And it feels similar in the sense that he was, he was really they were left alone when they made UHF. He just got to do what he wanted, and that was similar to this. We wrote the script on spec. We just wrote it. We came up with like a pitch for the movie. We pitched it all over town. Everyone passed on it, which shocked us. Like
Yeah.
we spent months working on this pitch, which I mean is basically just walking through the plot of the movie without, kind of painting broad strokes, touching on some of the jokes. The Escobar stuff was in the pitch, like, getting killed at the end. Like it was all in the pitch. And we were like, oh man, it's going to be a bidding war for this movie. It's such a no-brainer. We're going to go out there. It's going to be great. And everyone rejected it. So we were like, okay, let's just write the script. Let's write the script and then we'll try to get the script out there. Maybe we'll try to attach an actor and then find financing. So when we wrote the script, again, we got to do it on our own. It's almost nice that no one bought the pitch because then they would have tried to like maybe guide us towards something else or try to tell us what they thought wouldn't work, and instead of letting us just do this weird kind of experimental tone. So we wrote the script, and what ended up on screen is like very, very close to exactly like what our final, draft of that script was. And I think that the stakes were a little bit lower with this than they were with UHF. I think UHF had like a little bit higher of a budget, and I mean, it definitely had a higher budget, especially, considering inflation. I think their budget then was higher than our budget was now, even without inflation. But they had the pressure of debuting in movie theaters and box office and making their money back. And we had the luxury of like debuting on a streaming platform that had not done really anything original yet. So the fact that they had this project that people were even just excited to seek out and find, I think that it doesn't even matter how good the movie was. They were like, all these people are going to be downloading the Roku app or,
It's true.
finding Roku on their TV to find this thing. It was a real bonus that it happened to perform the way it did and win awards. And like, we still have the Emmys coming up at the beginning of January. That was a real surreal part of this entire experience. But yeah, so I think maybe there was a little bit more pressure on them then. And then, Al was really the like main creative force on UHF, obviously, and starting it. So a lot more pressure, I'm sure, on him in that aspect. And this was, we wrote it together. And then he got to hang out on set. I remember like day 2, like our first 2 days of shooting were a Thursday and Friday. And once we got to shoot, once we started shooting, we shot those first 2 days. And over the weekend, Al sent me an email that was just like, you're really good at this, at like directing, which was like so nice to get. But he was like, you're really good at this. Like it's fun to just hang out on set. And, like he would pop in with a note every so often. After every take, I would go over to him and say, that's good, right? You're right. We should move on, right? And he'd be like, yeah, that's great. It's perfect.
Oh my God. I couldn't imagine.
And there's moments where he was like, maybe let's try another one where they do this or, but we were both like really in line with each other. We both find the same things funny. And, there was a lot of, there were certain things that kind of broke the tone of our movie that we took out that were in the script, or like the only things that Al and I would battle about were jokes or silly moments that went a little too far. Like the comedy was a little too broad and a little too pushed, and it broke like the reality of what we were doing. There's a scene that was in the teaser trailer where 3 accordions come sliding into frame. He's where Daniel's like, somebody get me an accordion, and like 3, or does anybody have an accordion? And 3 accordions come in. And then the one that's in the movie, he's just like, somebody get me my accordion. And you don't see them come in. I had shot that. We did 1 take of him just saying, somebody get me my accordion. I did it to protect myself because I felt like that joke was a little too, the physics of it, the reality of it was just like a little too silly for what we were trying to do tonally in that scene. So like that, those are the only things that Al and I would kind of battle about. But it was never about like, is it funny or not? Like I'm like, it's funny. I think it's hilarious when those 3 accordions come in. It just takes away a little bit of the like emotion of the scene. Like it makes you forget what I really want people to be focusing on is, the immense pressure that he's under in this moment and being laughed at by everyone. And, it's reminding him, I think we had like an early cut where it was even flashing to like little blips of teenage Al being laughed at the party in that moment. As like, as everyone was like laughing at him when Wolfman Jack is walking away. But yeah, aside from that, like Al and I, we were all like, we were always in line on like what's funny and what's not funny.
That's so great. I love living in a world where Weird Al was the one to ground your humor.
Yes.
That's like, it makes complete sense that he'd be like, well, down a notch.
Oh, no. That was me. He wanted the accordions coming in.
Okay, then never mind. I had it completely backwards.
Sorry, it was the other way around.
Oh, man. Okay. I was going to say, okay, it makes sense. But, so you grounded him still.
So I grounded him. So, and at the end, and again, it was like, I think this is really funny. There were like many moments throughout the movie, which you'll be able to see a lot of them in the deleted scenes that are coming out on the Blu-ray that drops in December. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly extended scenes, and it's scenes with like those little pieces that we took out that were just a little too silly. And we just needed it to be a little bit more grounded.
That's awesome. Yeah. I needed to just, the people audience, this episode is dropping on December 1st. So you get to just pick up so you still have time to pre-order.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, I think you answered all the questions that I had. I was like, I don't know. You've talked about this movie like,
my gosh,
so much.
I have talked about this movie a lot, but I love talking about the movie. We can keep talking about the movie. I'll talk about anything.
So
what are your favorite parts of the movie?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, first of all, like I probably watched the pool scene like 27 times. Oh no, here's my question. How many 27s?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how many of them were snuck in. A couple of them were like pretty obvious, and we'd find places to put them, like in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like when he's fighting with the band before the concert. But that was like our production designer, Dan Butts, who is a longtime collaborator with Al. He's done a bunch of Al's. He did music videos and great production designer. I worked with him on the show Eagle Heart, that Adult Swim show. That's where I met him. He did this show called Making History on Fox that I worked on, and he did the Pee-wee Netflix movie. He was the production designer for that.
That was good.
Yeah. And I reached out to him. I thought that he would just be a perfect fit for this movie. And he was like, I'm friends with Al. And I was like, wait, you are? he's like, yeah, I've done like music videos of Al's. I had no idea. So Al was like really excited to be like, hey, Dan Butts said that you reached out to him.
That was a really good Weird Al hey. Like that, hey.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
But Dan like snuck a bunch of Easter eggs in. Like that was once I knew that there was someone so trusted, that knew all of the things to put in that fans would respond to. And
yeah.
The little there's like magnets on the fridge in the apartment. There's a Spatula City magnet, and there's like the like karate poster or whatever. There's like stuff. There's little things that he snuck in all over the place. I told him whenever you have an opportunity to put something in, I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, me too. I'm sure I haven't caught anywhere near as much as there. I'm a grown adult with a life, so I don't have time to keep like rewinding and pausing and rewinding and pausing. Maybe once I get the Blu-ray.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When you get the Blu-ray, for sure.
I'll have a little more time to do it. Oh gosh, that's great. Yeah. So I mean, one thing that like really super impressed me, just because I have no idea how any of this stuff works. I'm a college writing professor. I don't know anything. I was like, oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that y'all put this together so fast, like what filming was like 18 days. I'm like, how? Yeah. I was following along with Al on social media. He posted like these random like pictures every day too. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but this is great. Like everything is happening so fast.
It was really fast. It was absurdly fast. Like nobody thought that we could pull that off. We were supposed to, I think when we first like got the money, when Roku decided they were going to make this, and we thought 22 days, like we'll make it in 22 days. And that's tight as well. Like 22 days is nothing. I think that like I have a movie that I'm, supposed to be shooting for like a big theatrical comedy, this Jack Black movie that I'm doing, that we're supposed to be shooting like in the summer, and that will be 40 days of shooting. And it's and it like doesn't even have stuff in it that's, we did a biopic that like spanned years, and it's period, and there's like musical numbers. This is this movie that I'm going to do is a smaller movie, I think, like on paper, it's like not as many locations and over twice the amount of time we're going to have to shoot it. So then I remember they knocked us down to 20 days. We lost a couple days. It was like, do you think you could do it in 20? And it was like, I'll do it. I'll make it work. Yeah, I can figure it out. And then it's like, all right, well, how about 18? And I'm like, all right, but you cannot take another day away from me. I won't be able to do it if you take one more day away. With that sort of condensed schedule, there was 1 week in the middle of the schedule that I called the gauntlet. And I'm like, I kept saying, if I make it through the gauntlet, then we're good. Like I'll be fine for the rest of the shoot. And it was week 3 of shooting. Week 1 was 2 days. So it was a Thursday, Friday. Monday was a holiday. So then it was, Tuesday through Friday of the following week. And then, no, sorry. Maybe it was a holiday. I think there was a lot of holidays that happened in our schedule. It was like a bunch of 4-day weeks.
Oh yeah, well, because it was a January,
like President's Day or something. It was February.
Oh, February. Okay, so yes, you had
February
and
March.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it was week 3 of shooting, and on Tuesday we had the pool party scene. So that was that whole day. And not just the pool party scene. We shot the pool party and the scene where they are in Dr. Demento's like home office.
Okay.
And they're making out on the couch, where Al and Madonna are making out on the couch. That was like at the end of the pool party day. Wednesday was the whole concert where he's drunk on stage.
Oh my God.
plus the fight with the band in the tunnel underneath. Plus the shot where they're going down like the courtroom steps, like him and Madonna, like the jail, like the police department staircase with all the paparazzi. That was the following day. The day after that was the entire awards show and Amish Paradise. Which again, like we had to basically like build that awards show backdrop and set. Like that's the same stage that Amish Paradise took place on. We had to then like we did Amish Paradise first, and then I think shot like the backstage stuff where he's where he rips off the skin and reveals that he still has a mustache and like and has that final scene with Dr. Demento. And while we were shooting that, they were like building the podium and the steps and everything for the for the audience. Like, then we had to bring a bunch of crowd in and shoot all that audience stuff. It was insane. It was insane. And like,
it seems insane.
And we didn't have the money to like go overtime. Like these were 11 shooting hours, 12 hours with an hour long lunch break. And yeah, it was really crazy. And then, so I made it through the gauntlet. And then the following week, which was, by the way, like Escobar stuff was one day, like the jungle, like when we shot the jungle stuff, we shot on the Warner Brothers lot. So like in the morning, we took a really small crew to the Warner Brothers lot and shot that stuff. It's like the same area where in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he like swings on the bike over the lake.
Oh, I like knowing that.
It's the Tarzan jungle from the Warner Brothers lot. Yeah. So we shot that there. And then like we had to load all the gear up and drive across town to the Van Nuys golf course, the restaurant at the Van Nuys golf course, which is where we shot the scene with Josh Groban and the phone call with Al.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah, which, by the way, that restaurant, fun fact, is that has been featured in 2 Paul Thomas Anderson movies. That is the Tail o' the Cock restaurant from Licorice Pizza. And it is also the restaurant in Magnolia that John C. Reilly and Melora Walters like go on a date.
That's so cool.
Like, yeah. It's just got this like real old school, like San Fernando Valley restaurant look. So Paul Thomas Anderson loves using it. It's like a closed down restaurant on the golf course that like people just rent out to shoot in.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I'm loving all these fun facts, and so this is why I've been talking to a bunch of people who are like, we're so excited for all the commentary and extra stuff on the.
Yeah,
DVD.
we drop a lot of knowledge on that. Yeah, we both like wrote down just pages of stuff that we wanted to mention, and it's almost like there's not enough time to mention it all. Yeah, I could talk for hours about all the stuff.
That's amazing. I will say I'm so thankful that this movie exists. And so this 2022 is when it happened. Somewhere in the tail end of 2021, I did an episode of this very podcast about the Funny or Die sketch.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I have to go back.
You have to go back and listen. And in that episode, my guest, Robert from the Crooked Table podcast, and I said, sooner or later, this is going to be a movie. They're going to make this into a movie. And like not 3 months after that episode came out, you're like, guess what? We're making a movie. And I was like, we did it. We willed this into existence. And I firmly believe that like in my heart.
That's awesome. I mean, it was a real journey. Like we started, so Al emailed me, so like when I made that original trailer, Al and I, kept in touch throughout the years whenever he would play a show in LA or, at the Orange County Fair or like wherever, he would invite me. And, he like sent a gifts when my kids were born, like, just, always sort of like remained there in my life as a friendly acquaintance. And yeah, like randomly, I got an email from him in February of 2019 that was like, "Let's. What do you think about trying to turn it into a movie?" We went out the next day. We went out and got coffee, and started talking about ideas, and um, the Escobar stuff came out of that first conversation. Al was like, "I'd love for there to be a part where I just out of nowhere turn into John Wick in a Hawaiian shirt." And I was like, "Great, let's do it." Um, and yeah, so like I called Funny or Die, and I was like, "Me and Al we're thinking about doing the movie." And they're like, "Great, when you have a pitch together, like bring it to us." We spent a few months coming up with a pitch. We pitched it all over town. It got passed on. We wrote the script. So I think December of 2019, we had a finished script. We got it to Daniel Radcliffe in January of 2020. He immediately said, "Yes, I want to do this." This was pre-Zoom. This was like a month before COVID.
Yeah.
We had I don't know, Google Hangout with him, or like whatever, or whatever the Microsoft one is called. And he was like, "I love this. I want to do it. Like, what kind of accordion should I get? I want to start trying to learn the accordion." And then COVID hit, and then it was just like really hard to get people to give us money to make this movie. We found a couple of independent financiers, this company called Tango Entertainment. They came in, they could finance for up to a certain point, and then had to find financing partners to try to do the rest of it. We're going to make it for like $6 million. We're going to try to shoot it in Atlanta. And then we just like struck out over the course of the next year. Like no one would even come on board to like pay $3 million to like make this movie. And eventually, like I had a friend, this exec, Colin Davis, who I had worked with at TBS. He was at TBS, and I wrote a pilot for TBS. And then he left TBS and went to Quibi, and he hired me to do this Quibi thing. And then Quibi went under, and he went to Roku. And I was like, "Hey man, like, what do you think about this doing this Weird Al movie?" And thankfully they said yes. But it took a really long time. It was late 2021. I think like the late summer, early fall of 2021, we found out that Roku was interested. And then of course it took a while to make all the deals and do all that stuff. And yeah, it was just like these things. It seemed like they come out of nowhere. It gets announced. It's like they're making this thing, and we were in pre-production when it got announced, but it had been years of us trying to just push this boulder up the hill. And I'm so happy with the way that how it was received, and it's funny too that like no one, even at like Roku, I think nobody quite understood and this might be why we were having trouble selling it. Nobody really understood exactly what we were going for with this until they saw it. And I remember that I sent the director's cut. I spent 5 weeks putting together the director's cut. And when everyone saw it, I remember the response it was almost insulting, but it wasn't meant that way. But they were like, "Eric, this is a real movie." I was like, "Yeah, dude. I know.
What do you think I've been doing?"
It's like a real, because it feels like, it's kind of like we're goofing on biopics. Like it's a joke. It's a parody of biopics or something. But I never thought of it as a parody of biopics as much as I thought of it as a real biopic, a comedic biopic that exists in a bizarre, funny universe,
Yeah.
I always, even when we were trying to find financing, I had to put together like a pitch deck to try to, get people to give us money. And it wasn't like, Naked Gun, Airplane, Hot Shots, those weren't the movies that I was referencing. I was referencing like Anchorman and Wayne's World and, comedies that are like kind of ridiculous, but also have a great story that you could track. And Wayne's World had, like, you care about his relationship with Tia Carrere's character. Like, it really works well. And I wanted everything to work as well in this and not just be like a sketch that goes on for too long.
Yeah. And that was a real fear again for, some folks is like, is this going to be Night at the Roxbury? Is this going to be Ladies Man? Is this going to be like a thing that should only be this long, like stretched out longer than it should be, And it's so clear that you were cognizant of it not doing that it felt really, really real.
Honestly, that was Al's fear for all those years. That's probably the reason we didn't try to turn this into a movie in 2010, because we had joked about it, or I must have brought it up to Al because I emailed with Olivia Wilde and Aaron Paul like after that dropped, and they were so stoked with like how that fake trailer came out. They were like, "This thing is so great," and we were like, "Should we do this movie? Should we really make this movie?" And Al was like, "It's a sketch, it's a sketch idea." It's like, I don't know that he had that same fear. Like, he didn't know that it had the legs. And I think that if I would have made it 10 years ago, maybe it would have been an overlong sketch. I think it took me kind of maturing as a writer and director, to try to really inject heart and story into it once we got into the writing process. And I mean, it was so great when the movie finally came out. Al was like, you were right to give it that heart. Because I know that was like some of those things where they weren't arguments, but they were discussions about how important is it that this moment like really earns, and it's great that at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, man, that's what makes this part of what makes this so great.
It was
and
so
Radcliffe's
delightful.
and Daniel Radcliffe too. I mean, like that's, he is so good. I mean, everyone's good. The entire cast is great. Evan Rachel Wood is incredible. Rain was amazing. Like they're all, everybody's incredible. The guys in the band are like so they're like the heart of the movie. Like they're so nice. And like we wrote that deliberately. That was like, we're like, let's just make the band guys the nicest guys in the world.
So earnest.
Yeah, because and the reason we did it really is because we're like, it'll be so funny when Al's being really mean to them. Like the nicer we make them, just the I don't know if this really even translated in the movie as well as I thought it would when we were writing it. But the moment when Tommy Bermuda is like, "Whoa, is that Madonna?" Like, I think that like the intention, and maybe I should have had the other guys be psyched about it too, is that they're like excited to see Madonna because she's so famous. They're like, "Whoa, it's Madonna! Hey!" And he just immediately is like yelling at them again. But anyway, those guys were so great. And, but Radcliffe like really carries this whole thing. And he's just so, there's just something about his eyes, like he's just so, you feel sad for him and you feel his joy. And like, I mean, whatever, for 7 Harry Potter movies, he sort of took us through that world and like carried that story. So maybe audiences are really used to looking at that face for
maybe one of the again, beforehand, I felt like I was like fending people off with like baseball bats. Be like, guys, don't question anything. This is going to be what it's supposed to be. They're like, but Harry Potter though. I was like, okay, but like, did you see Guns Akimbo? Like he can do weird.
Yes, I loved Guns Akimbo.
And so I probably got like at least a dozen people to watch Guns Akimbo ahead of time for this, just to get like Harry Potter out of their brain.
Yeah, right.
But yes, I told everybody, I was like, just trust the process. I was like, this might not be the movie anybody expects. It might not even be the movie anybody wants, but this is going to be the movie that it's supposed to be and the movie that it needs to be. And that's exactly what it is. And like, it's every time a new like there's a new award nomination attached to this or something, like I literally get goosebumps, and I had nothing to do with it because it just makes me so happy.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I mean, and it was like there was a lot of just trust from, a lot of people. Like even Radcliffe, like,
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he trusted us, that he trusted me. I had never made a movie before.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Yeah, man, I'm down to do whatever you want me to do in this." And I gave him I mean, really, the biggest direction I gave him was like, don't try to play this like you think Al would play it. Just use the script, like what the scene's about, where how your character's supposed to feel. Make it your own, and just like really play those emotions, like really just like lean hard into these scenes and play the reality, like ground them. As silly as things get, just like ground the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's so clear that he's not doing a Weird Al impression.
Yeah, and he was a little concerned about that. He was like when he first saw a cut of the movie, he was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I made the right choice here. I think people might want to see more of a Weird Al impression." And I was like, "Dude, please, no." I'm like, "We haven't screened." This was before we premiered in Toronto. I said, "We haven't screened this movie." We had no test screenings. I showed this movie to 5 friends, and not even a finished cut, like earlier cuts, just to get notes from some trusted friends. And the first thing anybody says when this movie ends is like, "Oh my God, Daniel Radcliffe was so great in that." And he's like, "All right, I'll take your word for it." And then, of course, we got to Toronto and it premiered, and I'm like, see, I told you when we got to Toronto, you'd be like eating those words, man.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And look, I'm like looking at the time on my recording. I was like, "Do you have like 15 or 20 minutes to talk to me?" And we're like 45 minutes into talking about this.
Oh,
movie.
Is that all? Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm down.
No, this was wonderful. And like the only reason I'm even like, is because I told my husband I'd be making dinner.
Oh no.
No,
Yeah.
It's fine. I told him, I was like, if I'm in there past a certain time, just start browning the turkey. I'll be there. So, yeah. So I am really not good at buttoning any of my podcast episodes up.
It's okay. That's the hardest thing to do, to end a scene. You know.
I have no nuance. I'm just like, well, okay, this is super fun. This was great. And at the very least, I'm proud of myself for not pulling a Chris Farley on you and being like, "So, do you remember that Weird Al movie? Yeah. That was great, right?"
I love those. I mean, yes, I remember that.
Remember that.
I remember when he goes with Paul McCartney, he's like, "Remember the Beatles?"
Remember the Beatles? I'm like, yeah.
Remember when you were the Beatles? So stupid.
So you remember when you made that movie with?
I do. I remember. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my DVD, and yes.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy the bonus features. Shoot me an email, and if you ever think of any other questions you want to ask, please feel free to.
I like knowing this now. Email me. I absolutely will feel free to email you, and I'm just gonna say it like, I've been in Weird Al's presence a handful of times. The first time I cried.
Amazing.
And it was one of those meet and greet things, and he literally like hugged me and asked me if I was okay. I'm like, "I'm fine.
I love it.
I'm
He's
fine."
The nicest.
He's so nice. And then the second time, it was after I'd started this podcast, and he knew who I was, and I about fell to the floor. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. And then the third time, I was with my husband, and he had things to say to Weird Al, and Weird Al was just like, "Oh, nice to see you again." And he was like, "Oh, hi," to my husband, and like he only paid attention to me, and I was like, "I'm real sorry."
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And it was great. So yeah, he knows who I am. Tell Al I said hi.
I will.
And my only dream really is to get on his Christmas card list. That's when I'll know I've made it.
That's a pretty cool list. I was on both the Pee Wee Herman and Weird Al Christmas card lists. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Those are like those are my two Christmas card. Yeah, I even got I went to like the Paul Rubens like memorial friends and family, like friends of Paul Rubens' celebration of life at the it was at the Skirball Center in LA, like a month after he passed away. And like I was on his Christmas card list, and like I got the birthday texts from him. Did you read about that anywhere? Like, and he did these videos. And I got a video. He sent me like on my birthday the year before he passed away. I got this video. I was in Atlanta filming something, and I got this video that was, 5-minute long video of him just saying really nice things about me. And I'd worked with Paul Rubens one time. I got kind of close to, I almost directed the Pee-wee movie. I like met a couple times on that. But I had like, but it was just crazy to like to go to the to be at this memorial with all these, with all of these people that were like close with him and stuff. Yeah, it was really, really amazing.
That's just beautiful, and like what Paul Rubens did and like what Al still does with the people that are even like inner circles, not even the word. It's like, even tertiary circles that are like a couple, spheres out, just little things to make like those people feel good that you just kind of hold on to.
Everyone feels so special. Like getting those texts from Paul Rubens every year was like the highlight of my birthday. It's just, it was wild to be in a room with, a couple hundred people that, of what Weird Al was there to, Weird Al and his wife were there with Jack White, Conan O'Brien, like this room full of, it was amazing to be in that room with all of those people that got to experience that as well. Like everyone had that in common, like not only just like being a fan of Paul's or having crossed paths with him at some point, but like getting those special birthday messages from him. It was like, oh man, there's a room full of people that like get it. And it made it like extra devastating to be there. It was like I think just the most like profound sadness that I had ever felt in like my adult life. Like this weird, because also he was like a childhood hero. I actually have this sitting next to me in my desk, is this like lenticular,
that's beautiful,
Pee-wee thing. And it was the tag from like a Pee-wee Herman pajamas I had when I was like 9 years old from JCPenney.
I love that.
And I like found it in an old box and it's sitting on my desk.
Well, that's a treasure.
Yeah. It is. But anyway,
I think that's a lovely way to end this. See, again, you're better at this than I am, because like it's the kind of thing that inspires you to be that for somebody else, to be that little bit of kindness, and if we can learn anything,
after Paul's memorial, I started sending people birthday texts. It lasted 2 days. I am not that guy. Paul Rubens is that guy. Al is also that guy. I'm not that guy, unfortunately. Well, I'm just my ADHD doesn't let me be that guy,
Yeah, well, just do it randomly. One thing I like to do is if I see somebody out in public and like I like their shirt or I like their pants, like I just say it and like keep moving on. It's that kind of thing too. Yes. It's just like kamikaze kindness.
Yes, that is the way to live for sure.
So, well, Eric, thank you for being here and talking to me, and this has been absolutely delightful.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Great, thanks. Well, wasn't that neat? Again, big thanks to Eric Appel for talking to me, little old me, and I had a great time, and I couldn't have done it without the help of some very special people. My husband, Russ, who kind of gave me the push to make it happen. And a friend and listener of the show, Noah, for giving me some amazing talking points. Noah, you made me sound more intelligent than I am. So I appreciate you very much for that. And thanks so much for listening. And if you haven't already pre-ordered or ordered your copy of Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, with all of those delightfully delicious bonus features that we talked about, what's wrong with you?